Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the next part is recombination. What is meant by recombination? So due to crossing over, after crossing over is occurred, the recombination of chromosomes to be taken place in between non-sister chromatids during packaging stage of protisome. So here, in this is one chromosome, this is another chromosome, both are called as homologous chromosomes. So in these chromosomes, there is no crossing over at all. So after crossing over, there is no crossing over. Due to the formation of meiosis, there are 4 gametes will be formed, all the chromosomes without having any crossing over. So due to this, without crossing over, it causes non-recombinant chromatids. There is no recombinant. But here crossing over is occurred. So this is sister chromatids, this is sister chromatids. But this green and blue are non-sister chromatids with each other. Now what happened? There is a segment is formed. That means in these chromatids will be cut off, then exchange, mutually exchange between these non-sister chromatids. These chromatic pods are the gene or exchange. After exchanging, the recombination of chromosomes might be occurred. So this is called as recombinant. So after the crossing over is completed, so this is non-sister chromatid, this is non-recombinant, but this is recombinant. So this is non-recombinant chromatids. These two are called as recombinant chromatids. So as a result, 2 non-recombinant chromatids and 2 recombinant chromatids will be formed. What do you mean by recombinant? Due to crossing over, this part of chromatids are exchanged to the other part of chromosome. That means these non-sister chromatids are mutually exchanged between these two. So this is called crossing over. Due to this crossing over, the recombination of chromosomes are occurred. This is called recombinations. This recombination has been explained very perfectly by many scientists, but all were not accepted by various people. But so this is a model, Holliday model of DNA recombination. This model was accepted overall. So this is given by Robin Holliday. This is a model which has been given by scientist who was called as Robin Holliday. That is why this is called as Holliday model of recombination, DNA recombination. See here, this is non-sister chromatids of DNA. This is non-sister chromatids of DNA. These are pairing will occur between these two, then duplications will be formed. That means this is one DNA, this is another DNA. These DNAs are having 2 strands, these DNAs are having 2 strands each. After this, what will happen? The pairing of DNA might be takes place. This is the first step. So various steps have been given by Holliday's model of recombination. In the first steps, the pairing of DNA might be occur. After the pairing takes place, the non-sister chromatids of DNA might be cut off with the help of an enzyme called endonuclease, restriction endonuclease. With the help of a restriction endonuclease, these chromatids or the DNA have been cut off. After cutting off, these are exchanged. These chromatids are joined together with that chromatid. These chromatids are joined together with that chromatid. So in such a way, both the chromatids are exchanged between these two. Due to these exchanges, there is a junction is formed. This junction is called Holliday's junction or Holliday's structure. This Holliday junction or Holliday's structure may be formed by the exchanging of chromatids between this non-sister DNA. Now, this junction slightly migrates from the original site to so this Holliday junction is slightly migrate towards this side. So this migration is called Holliday's migration. Due to these migrations, there is recombinant heteroduplex will be formed. So this is one heteroduplex, this is another heteroduplex. Hetero, this is homo. Homo means there is no other chromatids are available. But this is heteroduplex. What do you mean by heteroduplex? See here A gene, capital A gene, this is small a, small b gene, this is small c gene. So these are a mixing or recombinant DNAs are there. So this is called as heteroduplex. These heteroduplex will be formed due to this movement or the migrations of this Holder's junction from this original site to a little bit. So due to this heteroduplex have been formed in this condition. So afterwards, this H-shaped formation is formed. So after formation of H-shape, this will be cut either vertically or horizontally. In case, if you are cutting this DNA vertically, what will happen? Here, recombinant heteroduplex may be formed. See here, this is blue color DNA, this is red color DNA. In order to understand very clearly for you, so this is blue color, this is red color. That means both are mixing together. This is called recombinant. Here, this is blue color, this is red color. That means this is also recombinant. That means if you cut vertically, all the DNA which will be formed is recombinant DNA. What do you call? Recombinant DNA. Similarly, this side also the same. This is blue color, this is red color, this is blue and red. So all are having, what do you mean? Recombinant DNA might be formed due to vertical cut. On the other hand, another cut also can be done. That means horizontal cut. If it is making a horizontal cut, what will happen? Some of them are recombinant, some of them are non-recombinant. What do you mean? This completely blue. If you cut horizontally, this is completely blue. This DNA is capital A, capital B, capital C. These are the gene or allele which are present on the DNA, which are purely homozygous. That means there is no recombinant. Purely it is available. That means this is a non-recombinant DNA. Similarly, this one also, the red color is also small a, small b, small c. This is also non-recombinant DNA. On the other hand, if you see capital A, that means blue, red, blue. That means it is a recombinant DNA may be formed. Here, another red color, blue color, red color. That means it is a recombinant DNA. So if you cut vertically, which is completely forming heteroduplex with recombinants. But if you cut horizontally, it is having both heteroduplex with recombinant as well as heteroduplex with non-recombinant. That's all about Holder's model of DNA recombination model. This is worldwide accepted. So on the basis of it, we can able to understand very clearly about the recombination of chromosome as well as crossing over. Now we are going to see another important concept is called gene mapping. What do you mean by genetic map or gene map? Gene map is nothing but, in order to understand about the genetic map or gene map, you should understand one thing. So this is chromosome. We shall consider only one chromosome. In this chromosome, this is centromere, these are chromatids. On these chromatids, number of genes are arranged linearly. That means number of genes are arranged one over the other to form a linear formation. That means each and every number of genes which are arranged on the chromatids in a linear fashion. Each and every chromatids are responsible for the characteristic feature. That means here for you it is visible to you a small a gene, small b gene which will be shown on this chromosome. But not only small a and small b genes are available, but also many genes are also available on this linear fashion. But it is indicated that the two genes, small a and small b, might be two genes have been indicated. That means small a genes are located in this place, small b genes are located in this place. This is called locus. Locus is nothing but the position of the gene which are present on the chromosome are called as locus. Are you clear? That means apart from this A and B gene or allele, many other genes are also present on the chromatids in a linear fashion. Now we are going to see about genetic mapping. On the basis of this idea about chromosome, about chromatids, about genes, about allele, about locus. If you know very clearly, then we can understand about what is genetic mapping or what is genetic map. So genetic mapping is nothing but it is a diagrammatic representation of the position of the gene on this chromosome, as well as we can able to measure the distance between two different genes. So this is called genetic mapping. So genetic mapping is nothing but it is a process in which a diagrammatic representation of the position of the gene as well as the distance between the two genes. This is called genetic mapping. This is a very important question as far as your examination point of view is concerned. This genetic mapping was first discovered by Morgan's student, who was called as Alfred H. Hewitt-Evans. The scientist was called as Hewitt-Evans, he is a person who is the student of Morgan. Then what is the unit of this genetic map or gene map? MU, map unit. Map unit is a unit for determining or measuring the genetic map. That is called MU. This genetic map is also called as 1% of crossing over. That means 1% of crossing over, which might be equal to one mapping unit. So this is also measured in another unit is called centimorgan. That means one mapping unit which will be equal to 1 centimorgan. This is named after Mr. Morgan, which is honoring Morgan by his student Alfred. So this is a wonderful thing, right? So one map unit is nothing but 1 centimorgan, but 100 centimorgan which will be equal to 1 morgan. So these can be measured very easily. For example, there are two genes. Suppose the gene capital A and capital B. These are the two genes are present at different locations on this chromosome. Suppose the distance between this A and B gene is 3.5 mu. That is, mu is nothing but map unit. That means the distance between gene A and gene B is 3.5 centimorgan, or this is also equal to 3.5%, or this is also might be equal to 0.35%. That's all about genetic mapping. Now, with the help of genetic mapping, we are going to see another concept. How can we measure, how can we determine the genetic map? In order to understand about the genetic map, we should know about dihybrid test class. The dihybrid test class already we have seen that. What is dihybrid test class? The homozygous recessive parent if we cross with any one of the parent, any one of the F1 generation, then this will be called as homozygous test class. But in the dihybrid test class, we can able to determine the genetic map, but this is not efficient techniques to measure genetic mapping. Why? Because some of the double crossing over might be occur in the chromosomes. This might not be visible in double crossing over. That means dihybrid test class we cannot able to find about double crossing over. That is why we have to need another one technique is called as trihybrid test class. What do you call? Trihybrid test class. What is trihybrid test class? Trihybrid test class is nothing but it is nothing but what is test class? Test class is nothing but homozygous recessive parent is crossed with F1 generation. Now we are going to discuss about trihybrid test class. In the previous one we have seen dihybrid. What is the differences between dihybrid and trihybrid? Dihybrid is having only two characters. Trihybrid means there are two characteristic features which will be determined by 3 alleles and 3 genes. See here, in the recessive character I shall explain you. There are 3 alleles of the gene. Suppose gene, allele L, allele G, allele S. That means small n, small g, small s. So small l is determining, it is a growth of the plant which is very short. That means lazy growth. So L allele which will be determining the characteristic features of lazy growth or prostate growth. Next one is called small g. Small g determine the glossy leaves. What do you mean by glossy leaves? The leaves are big and shiny. So the shining leaves will be determined by the gene small g. Small s. The small s allele which will be determining sugary endosperm. So these are all three alleles which are present in the same gene, which are called triheterozygous triploid character. Similarly, the capital L, capital G, capital S, these are dominant characteristic features. These are wild species. This pure wild capital L, capital G, capital S, that means it is a long growth, it is a glossy leaves, this is the sugary endosperm. This is dominant gene, this is dominant parent, which will be crossed with pure recessive parent. Then the gametes will be formed here, capital L, capital G, capital S, here small n, small g, small s. Then F1 generation will be, it is heterozygous trihybrid. This heterozygous trihybrid, if it is crossed with homozygous trihybrid, that means capital L, capital G, capital S, small l, small g, small s is crossed with small l, small g, small s, small l, small g, small s. So this is called trihybrid test class. This class is called trihybrid test class. What is trihybrid test class? A triple recessive alleles are crossed with triple homozygous allele. This is triple recessive homozygous alleles are crossed with triple dominant heterozygous recessive alleles. So these are crossed together to form trihybrid test class. So these may produce the gametes, 8 gametes may be formed. 2 to the power of 3 n formula. 2 to the power of n, here 3 n is something but 3 alleles. So 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 8 alleles. So these can able to produce 8 gametes will be formed by these cross. These 8 gametes which can produce 740 progeny at the end of F2 generation. How this trihybrid cross result may be formed? So at the end, I told you, as I said just now, there are 740 progeny may be produced. Here, there are various types of gamete types. There are 8 gametes will be produced, as I said earlier. What are the gametes will be produced? If all capital L, capital G, capital S, this is normal wild type. There are 286 number of progeny will be produced, all are normal. The small l will be indicating lazy. That means small l, capital G, capital S, which is nothing but lazy. There are 33 lazy progeny will be produced. There are 59 glossy leaves of plants will be produced. There are 4 plants of sugary endosperm plants will be produced. There are 2 lazy and glossy plants or progeny will be produced. There are 44 lazy as well as sugary plant may be produced, sugary endosperm, and 40 glossy and sugary endosperm may be produced, and 272 lazy, glossy, sugary. In such a manner, there are 3 recessive gene or allele which are having 272 progenies. Overall, 740 progenies will be produced at the end of F2 generation. Here, we have to understand who are parental, who are recombinant. If it is all the 3 alleles are homozygous, what do you mean? Either it is dominant or recessive if they are homozygous. That means all are capital letter or all are small letter. For example, capital L, capital G, capital S. These are all parent. Similarly, small l, small g, small s. These are also parent. If all are homozygous, either it is dominant or it may be recessive, they may be called as parental. Then the second category, if two alleles are homozygous, then they are called as parent. For example, small l, small s. These are, what do you call? Small l, small s. That means they are parent. And similarly, small g, small l. Any two which are having either dominant or recessive on that particular loci will be parental. Rest of the all will be called as recombinant. So this can be easily understood. For example, for different loci we have to see. First of all, a loci between L and G, a loci between L and S, loci between G and S. In such a way, various loci of recombinant we can see. Then we can able to understand whether they are parental or recombinant. All these phenotype test class of gametes have been given the same. For example, if completely all the three alleles are dominant or recessive, then they are parent. These 286 as well as 272 are parent. There is no recombinant. Then, in the second category, if they are homozygous, we can consider any two loci of the recombinant. For example, first we can see about L and G. In between L allele and G allele, if both are homozygous, that means capital L, capital G, they are parent. Small l, small g, they are parent. But who are recombinant? Any one of it recessive, another one of it dominant. That means either small l, capital G or capital L, small g, they will be recombinant. Come to the point. Only we are going to consider about LG. Capital LGS. That means definitely they might be parent. Why? These are all dominant. Similarly, these are also parent. There is no recombinant. But we are going to consider about only L and G. L and G both are capital letter. So it is parent. Small l, capital G. That means this is recombinant. This is capital L, capital G. These are parent. But this is small l and capital G. So this is heterozygous. In between L and G. That means this is recombinant. That means this is a recombinant arm. Then, glossy, if you see, capital L, small g. This is also heterozygous. One is capital, another one is small. That means that is also recombinant. Then next, sugary, capital L, capital G. Both are capital letter. That means parent. Next one, small l, small g. Both are homozygous. Both are small. That is parent. Next one is small l, capital G. That means this is a recombinant. So this is recombinant. Next one, glossy and sugary. One is capital L and one is small g. So this is a recombinant. Next one, L and G. Small l, small g. Both are homozygous. So parent. So only 4 are recombinant. Remaining all parent. This is between the gene L and G. Then if you consider about L and S, the second recombinant gene, then if you see L and S, first and third, capital L, capital S, parent, because both are capital letter. The second one, small l, capital S, what do you call? Recombinant. Then third one, capital L, capital S, parent, capital L, small s, recombinant, small l, capital S, recombinant, small l, small s, parent, both are same, small letters. Glossy and sugary, capital L, small s, recombinant. Why? One is capital and one is small. Small s, small l, small s, both are homozygous parent. So there are 4 recombinant and remaining all parent in L and S loci. Then G and S loci. Then G and S locate, the last two, capital G, capital S, parent, because both are capital. Capital G, capital S, both are capital letter. So parent. Small g, capital S, recombinant. Capital G, small s, recombinant. Then small g, capital S, recombinant. Capital G, small s, recombinant. Small g, small s, parental. Small g, small s, parental. Are you clear? So how to understand, how to determine whether they are parent or recombinant? Now we need recombinant only, because we are going to determine the location, the locus of the gene, the locus of the allele, and we are going to determine the genetic map. Now we are going to understand about the genetic order. In order to understand, we need this recombinant. So there is a formula using recombinant frequency, RF. So recombinant frequency RF is equal to total number of recombinants by total number of progeny. This is total number of progeny. This is total number of recombinant for L and G. Total number of recombinant for L and S is 79. Total number of progeny is 740. Total number of recombinant for G and S is 109. Total number of progeny is 740. Now I shall tell you about the formula. Recombinant frequency RF is equal to total number of recombinant on that particular loci divided by total number of progeny into 100. So this is called recombinant frequency formula. So various category we shall calculate. First of all, in between these two, first two, in between the gene, allele, capital L and capital G, in between these two, there are four recombinant. This is recombinant, 33. This is another recombinant, 59 progeny. This is another recombinant, 44 progeny. This is another recombinant, 40 progeny. So overall 4 recombinant combined together, 176 by 740 into 100. So this is the first location. So what is the formula? Recombinant frequency is equal to total number of recombinants by total number of progenies into 100. So there are four total recombinants are there, as I said just now. What are they? 33 plus 59 plus 44 plus 40. That is equal to 176. See here, 33 plus 59 plus 44 plus 40 divided by 740 into 100. That means combined together they are called as 176 by 740 into 100. So this recombinant frequency is equal to 23.7% in between L and G. So next loci we can see. In the next loci, L and S. Here there are four recombinants are there. They are 33, 4 plus 2 plus 40. Overall 79. So what is the formula? Recombinant frequency is equal to total number of recombinant on the locus, that is 79, divided by total number of progeny is 740 into 100. So this is second locus. So in between L and S loci, we can see the recombinant frequency 33 plus 4 plus 2 plus 40 divided by 740 into 100. That means 79 by 740 into 100 is equal to 10.7%. So this is the recombinant frequency in between L and S loci. The last one is in between G and S loci. So once again, we shall see the recombinant. In the G and S recombinant, we can have 59 plus 4 plus 2 plus 44. Combined together 109. So recombinant frequency is equal to 109 by 740 into 100. So this is third loci. In between G and S loci, recombinant frequency is equal to 59 plus 4 plus 2 plus 44 by 740 into 100. That is equal to 109 divided by 740 into 100. That is equal to 14.7. So all the locus, we have seen that recombinant frequency will be 23.7 for L and G, 10.7 for L and S, 14.7% for G and S. All are linkage. There is no crossing over. Why it is linkage? If the recombinant frequency is more than 50%, there is a crossing over will be there, but otherwise these are all the linked genes. Okay, come to the point. How do we find the locations? Among these three loci, which one is the highest one? 23.7. That is between L and S. So L and S gene are the last. That means one side L, another one is S. The S must be, L and G. The S must be present between L and G. See here. So this is might be the gene. So L and G is the longest one. That is 23.7. Here, S might be present in between L and S. That means in the middle, the S might be present because this is lesser than the top one, 23.7. That is in between L and G is 23.7. So L and G is the longest gene. S must be present in the middle. Are you clear? So that means the order of gene is nothing but L, S and G. So this is order. So with the help of trihybrid cross, we can find the genetic map. We can find the genetic order as well. The order is L, S, G. And also we can able to measure the distance between the gene. So that is called genetic map. So as I said just now, in between L and G is 23.7. In between L and S is how much? We have seen that is 10.7. In between G and S is 14.7. So these are also we can mention here. L and S is 10.7. S and G is 14.7. So if you add these two, 10.7 plus 14.7 is 25.4. But distance between L and G is 23.7 only. 23.7 only. But when we combine together 10.7 plus 14.7, we can get how much? 25.4. 4%. That means map unit is 25.4. That means something is missed. That is nothing but double crossing over. These double crossing over, where it is located, this double crossing over might be there with the progeny of recombinant which is having least number of progeny. These are having double crossing over. That means 4 and 2 are lowest progeny. These two lowest progenies are having double crossover. That should be added with this one. So for example, this is the biggest one. L and G is the longest gene. The distance between the L and G is the longest distance. That means in between L and G, it is not only having these, these recombinants, but also double crossing over is hide behind. What are the double crossing over? Which are having lowest progeny. So lowest progeny is 4 and 2. These are double crossover. That means these have to be counted twice, not single times. These have to be twice. That means in between L and G, 33 plus 59 plus 44 plus 40 plus 4 plus 4, double. Similarly, because double crossing over is occurred in between this lowest progeny, then 2 plus 2. All if we combine together, then we will get 188. So if you divide 188 by 740 into 100, then exactly you will get 25.4 in between these two. So exactly you will get. So here missing double crossing over is also can be calculated in triple point or triple point test cross ratio.